Well, welcome into the Sunday market prep video, and we are going to run through the markets that I trade. Got some futures, NQ up here right now. We're going to go through MGC or GC and ES, and then we'll look at some stocks, give you examples of what I do and how I look at things. Um, we're going to walk through each of those. We're going to mark zones, supply, demand. We're going to get any consolidation zone we see where price is just kind of consolidating in, we're going to mark those because usually when we break out of that, you can catch a good move out of those. So we're going to mark that. And that way we're going to have us a good plan going before market opens tonight for the futures and before the stocks open tomorrow before the New York session. Because as you know, I work full time also. So I like to have all this stuff prepared before I go to work. That way I have profit target levels, I have any key zones I'm looking at, and then I can react accordingly to whatever setup I see. So first we'll look at NQ. And we've still got Friday morning London. It's still the dominant supply zone. The yellow zone is my supply. This blue line is just a profit target area. The blue zone down here is the demand. Now that demand came from August the 4th. If I go all the way back over here, it's over here. Let me bring that on over right here. August the 4th. So, and as you see, I leave those up unless we break through them, and I should say close, not just break, not a wick. That doesn't count. It has to close through cleanly. And if it does that, then I will remove it and say, okay, it's done. But looking at NQ currently, we are consolidating or accumulating in this zone right here. And I would go from right this area right here. So we're kind of hanging in this range right here at the moment. So if we break out one way or the other at the open tomorrow, then you got a chance to maybe get a trade or two in. Here on the 5 minute, you got a little bit of open space down here, not much. Start looking on the 15 minute. Now that looks like you have a little more chance to go down here with the 15 minute. Also, you could potentially go up. We're just kind of 50% in this zone at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. I would normally, if this was not close to this supply zone, I would normally mark this out, but we're close already to it. This right here, I would mark this as a price target, profit target area right there. And you see, that doesn't look like much, but it's 44 points. So, if you're day trading like I do, and you're looking for just a base hit, that's an easy little base hit right there. So I'm looking for that. And then we see we have a price target down below here, a profit target area. If we move down below that, we have one there already also. Now let's move on to gold. You see, gold, we were in this zone on gold until about 10:30 on Friday, and then we broke out. But unfortunately, I didn't get to catch that at work, like probably a lot of you. But if you, I had this marked on, I think, a higher time frame. Yeah, I was on the 15 minute. And so, I knew once we broke out of it, I just wasn't able to get a trade because I was working. So, but you see, the 15 minute looks good. We're continuing up. And on the right here is our supply zone on gold. And I like to make that yellow. Over here would actually be our demand. This right here is the last down candle before our leg up. So that's going to be your demand zone. And that less, I mean, just take this off. We've already broke that. So not too confusing. These are just zones I try to keep track of because I know those are liquidity areas that we will target. This is more of institutional areas, I feel like, or well, I know they are. But, 15-minute, like we seen gold, we're coming back. Are we going to retest we could be retesting where we broke out of this consolidation level and then continue up for another leg. We'll just have to wait and see. Then I'll look at ES. And on it, here is the demand right here. And we'll leave that yellow zone, the supply, because it hasn't been broken through either. So it's going to stay there. It's not really consolidating much. You look on the 15-minute. Now that looks more like a range on 15-minute in this area right here. So I would be watching that. If you break below this demand zone, then you got potential to come on down here. And then we'll look at a stock or two here and show you what I do on those. We'll get on the 15-minute here on Apple. And I would pay attention to that little consolidation zone right there. If you break above it, you're looking for something up. And be careful when you get around this 200 right here, because that's going to be a big resistance area. Let's look at right here is this is our supply zone from Friday on Apple, because that is the last last up candle before that leg down. And then demand, as you see, is still the one I had on there is still valid from over here at August 8th, Tuesday. It was on Tuesday we made that, so it still hasn't been broken. And then on the 15-minute, you'll mark some obvious price targets right there. Profit target area right here is a profit target area. Up here, you got a pretty good level there where you can run through. But I would mark all these. You just don't make it more complicated than it is. AMD. You see, I have AMD in a pretty good size zone. It's been in this range, in this 15-minute range for a little while. So, if we break up, we got an imbalance over here on the 15-minute. So you got enough to make 485.28 down to 478. So $7 over here per share, if you can catch that. So we've got that going. I would keep an eye on it. Amazon, same. Amazon's in a range also, and it's got a little bit of room over here and balance on it. So I would watch that. So that's what I usually do. And the whole point of doing this on Sunday is so I don't have to make these decisions while I'm at work and the market's moving, and I don't have to wonder where we're headed. I have everything prepared, and I've already got a kind of a map of where everything's going. And if price hits one of my profit targets, I know, hey, this is, where it's at on my chart. I can already tell. Oh, I'm just taking the right to here. This is my first base hit. This is where I'm going. But if it doesn't, that's fine too. But so far, this is the current plan that we have for Sunday night when the futures opens, and then Monday, of course, when the options market. So, but I'm not here to we're not going to try to predict anything, what's going to happen. We're just trying to be prepared. and preparation, patience, and discipline. And always remember, one good trade is enough.